All right, what's up guys? It's Jacques Slade and I'm here with the post game today and we're at the launch of the Jordan 30. Now this isn't your usual unboxing because I honestly have two legendary designers here beside me, Tinker and Mark Smith. These guys are amazing. Tinker, both Mark and Tinker have had years and years in the Jordan line, so you know when it comes to the 30 that it's going to be something special. Now you guys have probably seen a little bit of the 30 already, but we wanted to give you a little more detail and insight into the shoe. So let's just open up the box first of all. And now with the shoe being the 30, just Tinker, you've been a part of the Jordan brand since number 3.
Like how does it? You were born.
Since before, how does it feel to be like 30 years of a shoe line? That's hard to design for.
Yeah, well, it's been a long bus ride, if you will, but it's been a fun one too because we've been able to hang out with Michael. That's cool. We've been to we've watched a lot of championship games, but more than anything, I think we've been able to watch people enjoy the work and kind of make it their own and do it customs, and it's just been a really fun.
So let's take a look at the shoe. So this is the Jordan 30. Now, the first thoughts, let's be totally honest. People are going to say, "Oh, that looks similar to the 29." Can you, Mark, can you speak to like what are some of the differences when people say, oh, this looks like the 29? What are some of the differences where it's like, yeah, there's hints of it there, but this is where it's different?
Sure. I mean, really, we're talking about the protection in the toe, the breathability, the lenticular aspect of the branding, which is there for protection purposes and fit purposes, as well as the knit for fit collar and loft. It's the first time we've mixed the woven from the 29 and the lofted knit for better fit and comfort along the tongue and the collar. Those are two of the big ones.
So when you say lofted knit, is that the same thing as fly knit from the?
It's fly knit with dimension.
Fly knit with dimension.
It has it still is breathable. It's still light, but it has a dimension to it, and it's the first time we've done this.
Now, from your drawing, we saw your drawing that you sent over to Smitty, and Smitty, they call him Smitty. That's just not me, guys. Don't think I'm.
They call me a lot of other things, and Smitty's nice. It's just fine by me.
You talked about some of the materials that you wanted, or that you wanted him to source for materials for the shoe. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it was kind of a joke almost that I would sketch a shoe and then make notes to Smitty. Go, well, you do it. So it was a little bit of a joke, just to like a quick sketch, and then trying to make some notes about. Well, in many ways, it's not just a note to Smitty. It's a note to our entire team, and Smitty heads up a lot of people that actually help make these things come true. So it's kind of like passing the notion along that we needed to do something. I felt that was a little more protective as a basketball shoe for toe drag and things that you might imagine that we didn't have on the 29. It was we want to always improve these shoes from year after year. And I want to also mention something real quick, Jacques. You remember the 3?
Yes.
You remember the 4?
Yes.
You remember the 5?
Yes.
Tell me what was different in the midsole and outsole between those 3 shoes.
Oh, I know. This puts me on the spot now. Now I'm like
nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Well, there it is.
0. Okay. As in, and people have their favorites. Some people go, I love the 3. 3's my shoe, and many people go, oh, the 4 is the one, and then the 5. And they all had the same midsole and outsole with just very minor tweaks. So this is not unusual that the tooling is slightly revised from one year to the next, because if you look at performance, it takes a lot of engineering, a lot of wear testing, a lot of validation of a completely new chassis for a car or for a shoe. We're like, you know what? We're just going to modify this a little bit, just like we did in the 3, the 4, and the 5 Air Jordan. Those midsoles were not very different. So for any of those people out there, and I'm talking to you, it's not unusual. It's actually not unusual to have some similarities from one year to the next, because you just don't always throw the baby out with the bathwater here. We're trying to make a better basketball shoe. We felt like we already had the best tooling. So we really focused on the upper, and the upper is actually quite different.
Now, what part of being the 30, like to be able to reach 30, just to reach the number 30 alone for a signature shoe, says a lot about Jordan and what he's meant to the game of basketball. And I know that the globalization of basketball was like one of the themes that you kind of brought into this design. Can you talk a little bit about that, how that speaks to this design as far as like the globalization and what Mike has done for basketball?
Well, this shoe's kind of in this sort of process is different than any other shoe we've designed, in that it really sprung out of this conversation around Michael's impact over 30 years on the game of basketball. But you could say on the globe, around the globe as a sport, but also in modern culture, past culture, future culture. And then we just sort of threw in this whole notion that, well, you know, maybe he's so impactful that it's very possible that he's not even from this world. You know, he's otherworldly in another way to put it. So that just gave us a storyline that was rich and interesting, and then we designed the shoe based off of that. That's different than any other process that I've seen before.
Now, Mark, I ask you this, what's the major difference between flight plate and flight speed?
Cut.
Is it cut?
There isn't much difference.
It's back to Tinker's point. It's a slight refinement.
We basically changed materials a little bit. We improved the plate, I'd say the resiliency of it, but we really didn't change the geometry that much because it was working so well. And so if you talk to say Russell Westbrook and you go, okay, Russell, what did you think about this past year wearing the 29? And he's like, man, this is the best shoe I've ever had on. I can't even imagine what you do to make it better. We're like, well, we're not going to change it too much. And he's like, okay, because you know what? I don't want to be a test pilot every year trying something that may or may not be better. We want it to always be better. So the flight plate, which is now the speed plate, is really just our way of kind of talking about refinement, and it's really close to the same thing.
Athletes get comfortable in what they wear, and this is fine just the way it is. Do you get a lot of feedback from athletes like, oh, well, don't change anything, like leave it just the way it is? How do you combat that? I know there's a need to push innovation and evolution of a shoe, but it seems like for this one, I loved playing in the 29 myself, and so to see that you kept the same tooling is that's fine with me. But other athletes oh, but Jordan always pushes. Jordan's always changing. Jordan's always pushing the envelope. Where would that conversation be with them? Mark, maybe you can answer this question. How do you respond to that? We're well, this one doesn't change like it usually does.
It again, Tinker made a great point. It offered us the opportunity. First, listen to the athlete, listen to the voice of the athlete, and respond to that accordingly. And that gave us the opportunity to really focus on the areas where we could go back into the 29 and improve on things that we felt could be better, and really bring new technologies to it that are in themselves unique and different, but when you put them all together, it becomes a different product. It does become a different product, but you're kind of keeping the best aspects of the previous. So you're, again, to Tinker's point, you're not test driving a brand new chassis.
Yeah, I think it's well put, but I would also add that don't change something unless you have a better idea.
Yeah. If it ain't broke.
Don't just change it, just be changing it, because that's fashion. That's not sports performance. We are not a fashion company, even though we end up in a fashionable context. We are trying to make better basketball shoes, and because of the amount of time that we had to work with, we're like, you know what, we are not confident that we could just throw this one all the way out, start from scratch. And I think that you're going to see from us in the future that we are not going to automatically just change the tooling just to be different. We're going to change the tooling for real strong performance reasons. And that's, by the way, again, going back to my first 3 or 4 years designing Jordan shoes, I didn't change that tooling that much because, I'm like, I'm not sure if we should be asking Michael to be a test pilot every year, not knowing if this was actually going to be better. And but then we actually got better at being better. So so then we changed it more. But now it's so complicated.
That's great. So I mean, the last question with the 29, there was the ability to really shape the look of this upper with the fly weave, and now this has fly knit involved. Does that take away the ability to really use the upper as more of a canvas, or is that?
I'd say just the reverse is true.
You actually have more options with this: color, graphics, and storytelling. You can do more with it now.
All right, last question. What does lenticular mean?
It's just really, I mean, Mark could maybe speak to this since he kind of basically invented that toe.
I had a great team who showed me some really cool stuff, and I said, hey, how about we do some of this? It's the ability to visually change what you're looking at, depending on your perspective, on where you're
You can achieve lenticular through ridges or through little tiny dots. So each dot or each ridge actually might have more than one print on it or one photo, so that when you change the angle, it actually changes. So that's the definition, as I understand it, of what lenticular really means. So when you see like a 3D postcard or something, those are ridges, and there have been 5 different photographs taken, and all those photographs have been printed on it at a slightly different angle because there's a ridge there.
And there's a stereoscopic aspect to it. You need 2 eyes in order to get that visual aspect. So yeah, the dimension. And we also played with like the lightness and the brightness of it, and the ability for it to be reflective, and the ability for it to be breathable. So
and to change color.
And to change color. So really cool new technology that we brought.
And again, it's printed on. It's not.
We're not talking about printing yet.
Yeah.
We can't say that.
Oh.
Never mind.
Maybe we have something we're not supposed to talk about. Maybe we have some information we're not supposed to
Mark
have.
Smith glued each one of those dots on by him
It's like
individually.
By himself individually. All right, well, thank you guys. I appreciate your time, Mark.
Appreciate your
Tinker.
pleasure.
Appreciate
Of
you.
course.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. The unboxing of the Jordan 30. This is probably the best unboxing you'll ever see. Mark Smith, Tinker Hatfield. I am Jacques Slade. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Cool. Peace. This side says Tinker made them shine. Leading to the fact that Tinker Hatfield actually designed these, and he has said on several occasions that this shoe is actually his favorite shoe. It's pretty official. So it's raining, so I'm gonna cut the camera off before it gets ruined, and I'll see you guys inside.
Yeah.
I'll tag y'all.